Here we go.
Okay, and we're live. Hello and good evening. This is Thomas, and welcome to our Hangout. Tonight is Global GCE-5 date, and is also correlates with the mass Hangout event. Sorry, the mass contact event that's going on all the weekend. And we're here to talk about benevolent, peaceful contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, if you believe that kind of thing, or at least have an open mind. And tonight we're live with James from the UK, and we have Evan in the chat from Germany. But James is from Reality Explorations, and if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, if you want to find out more, if you go to realityexplorations.net, I've been a researcher, both an active researcher as well as a passive researcher in the UFO related stuff for many years. Just go and have a look at the site and see what you think of it. There's some ex-classifieds on there, and there's a write-up about physics on there, which can relate to perhaps how can an interstellar craft get to Earth, because mainstream says the distances are too vast, and there's lots of other concepts that can relate to this on the site as well. Thank you for your interest if you visit the site. And there's a forum as well.
Okay, that's very nice. And I was just taking a look at the website, and I'm gonna share that I'm gonna share the address.
Yes.
On our Google Plus. So everybody, if anybody's watching, this is as usual. There's a lot of people who wants to watch, but not a lot of people wanna join the hangout. And don't be shy. That's we're not.
We don't bite.
We don't bite, and we're not crazy or anything. We're just talking about sharing experiences about this phenomenon. But we just had a small chat before we went live, and James was explaining that he had some personal experiences, and we were talking about different states of consciousness, because we believe that this phenomenon and the contact, the human initiated contact, if you want to put it like that, is very much based on consciousness, and the fact that consciousness goes beyond the kind of physical realm we experience this usually, and there is perhaps only one consciousness, and we're just experiencing it. Everyone has the same consciousness, but we are experiencing it in a subjective way. But James, do you want to share more about your personal experience?
Yeah, I've had the conversation we had. We had that childhood memory, very, very early memory, and it's like you said, it was a dream-like experience. And you make an important point, I think, on dreams are just another form of consciousness, or perhaps the brain is just ordering the information in a different way that consciousness receives. Because people miss the point, I think, of they think the brain generates the consciousness, but there's no evidence of that. And I think that's an important point. But in the dream state, it was like I was in the PJs. I don't know how old I was, probably 5, maybe younger. And I can remember being at the window, and I'm feeling no, I couldn't explain it, but there was more of a emotional response of feeling of being invited in a loving way. So I was invited to the window, and the next thing I can remember, I was on the craft, uh, some kind of craft, and being picked up like an adult would pick up a child, and we was pointing out the window, at objects, other craft flying by, and it was like, you know how children pick out like red car, blue car, whatever, and it was like picking out specific ones, and it's about all I can remember about it. Another thing I remember perhaps was they were very tall people, but they were like us. They were like humans, you know. They were like, you know, it didn't have this mainstream media sort of alien grey face that has been propagated through the media. Other than that, I've had experiences. I've walked through crop circles as well, which very controversial. I think a lot of them are man-made, but the geometry in which they're designing, I think, can have an effect on consciousness itself, because it's relating to a specific geometry that does exist on the quantum scale or the cellular scale. There's a relation to the geometry that's on the inward as opposed to the outward. I talk a lot about that on my videos on YouTube. There's a bigger picture videos, I called them. If I walk through one crop circle, I walk through the center of it, and whether it's placebo or not, I don't know, but you can feel like an energy density that's different in the center than it is opposed to the outward. And if the crops folded, I think, in a specific ratio, that lends itself well to how certain things move in energy forms.
But
a crop circle can be a bit of an energy well.
But
you know?
yeah, actually, Oliver talked about this in a hangout some time ago about
Right.
we were talking about the CSETI project.
Yeah.
Or maybe, yeah, some people would call it the silly effort to investigate.
Fountains breathing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when he was talking about some time ago, they sent out a signal, binary code. I think I was from Puerto Rico. No, sorry, that was right next to a big.
Next to a radio telescope, is that right?
Yeah, next to the radio telescope, where they sent out this message, was a field, and there was a crop circle formed. That was like a reply to this message. And as Ollie said, you know, this message was ignored because it's not mainstream science or understood in the way that we usually understand things. But as Ollie said, the connection, the thing was, they were sitting there and they were thinking, we want to make contact. Okay, so we send out this message, and these beings, they go, okay, we get your message. Okay.
Yeah.
And reply right next to the
right next to it. Yeah.
And nobody really cares, you know, and they're not really interested in that. They disregard that as a possibility.
Yeah. You're familiar with Nassim Harame's work? No.
Exactly. Are there a lot of how do you call crop circles where you live?
Not near my area. No, there's a bit further north of me, northeast Salisbury area in England, in the UK.
Okay.
Near Stonehenge, there's quite a few with Stonehenge, and in England is well known for his crop circle anyway, his formations.
Yes.
If you're familiar with Nassim Haramein, um, he pointed out about that radio telescope and the crop circle. And he said the point he made that there's security cameras everywhere, no one saw a thing. And yet the next morning there's this reply right next to the Arecibo telescope. And I think the crop formation was something like an alien grey face, perhaps. And
Oh yeah,
he had
yes,
his hand
yes.
out holding a disc, did he not? And there was like dots on the disc,
Yeah.
which related to a binary code. And I can't remember what the message was in the binary code.
I'm just gonna share your web page.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Yeah,
think you should be seeing that as well now. Is that right?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the
There's
reality.
a social forum as well.
And
you can get to a social forum on. Sorry, interrupting you.
no, that's okay. This is a page, and you can go there and check out what James is doing. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Oops, sorry. And I'm gonna be back now. Okay. And
There you go.
but that's true. But and I also that there's people have shared some pretty amazing stories with me, and I know other experiences who have had some amazing experiences with crop circles, and
Yeah.
and I know there's of course we all know that some of them are man-made, and
yeah,
that's like graffiti. Sometimes art can be can take many forms, and don't disregard that totally as an important message. But it's not all hoaxes, and I'm pretty sure that some of the crop circles are genuine, and then also that what I hear is that obviously we all hear stories about then if people came and trashed my crop, so I plowed it over. But we also hear stories about how the some farmers are actually happy, that the best thing that can happen is a huge crop circle in the field, because the crops in the following years will be plentiful and abundant. So it has a positive effect on the environment as well. So it's not just a visual message, but it's an actual physical message as well, if you believe that kind of thing. But one of the things we're always talking about is how sharing an experience is not proof of any of this is real, but there's so many people having these experiences, and so many people who are not who seeing things and experiencing things that are beyond what can be explained by how should I say, mainstream science and swamp gas, okay?
Yeah.
or weather balloons or whatever you want to say.
Ideas,
And we also talked about that before the hangout. We don't believe in magic as such, or
no.
you don't need to resort to religion or magic to explain these things, but it's a higher form of intelligence, and it's a higher form of consciousness, and it's a higher form of technology that's behind these things. People often, if you ask questions like, "Do you think that the craft is conscious?" and I feel like, well, yeah. But on the other hand, if you are very advanced, and you could imagine technology being like an extraction of yourself, but but it would be conscious. So the distinction you make between here and there is becomes arbitrary, or somewhat. It doesn't really matter because
Yeah.
because it's an extension of yourself. The technology becomes an extension of yourself, of your conscious being. So there's
Well, you can
no.
look at the human body in that way. You can look at the human body in that way as the biological body is an extension for the consciousness to express itself. You know, and we use other things to express itself through the internet. And you might be forgiven if you only had one means of communication, and you was to use a telephone, and that was your only means of being able to communicate through a telephone to other people. You might be forgiven, perhaps, for thinking that you are the telephone. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of that makes a lot of sense, and that's also when we're talking and when we're doing. When people always ask, why what's important about the meditation or that kind of state, the flow. You might as well call this a flow state, because I'm a musician as well, so I often compare the feeling of the mind meld, the contact, the conscious based contact. It's very much like a really cool jam, a jam with a lot of musicians, and this thing goes on in real time. But your thought, the process, the crunching of numbers is always lagging behind. And if you're
the brain's processing,
if you have to process everything that's going on, you'll be on tight and you'll lag behind, and it won't be a cold jam. So it has to happen now, and it has to be instantaneous, and it has to be everybody communicating at once. So when you have when you talk, or if you write a book or whatever, you have to first choose symbols to represent your feeling or your thought or your idea. But when you're doing it in a jam, it's kind of going on in real time all the time. And it's the same thing with the meditation, it has to do with getting in touch with reality. What's really going on right now, here and now, around you. Because we often confuse the symbols we choose to put on reality with reality itself. Especially in this world, in the world we live in, where as we talk about the instant gratification, the quick fix, the consumeristic kind of the reality show, and when we talk about these things, and people, as we talk about all the apps and the guides and the lasers and whatever you can use, but one of the things, the approach, initiating contact yourself, is that it can take a very long time. You need, it takes time.
Yeah.
And that puts
meditation takes time.
And that puts people off right away, because they want to buy the book, they want to buy the quick fix. They want the reality show, They want to come back next Thursday, and everybody will tell what's going to happen, because that's the easiest thing. But
I was talking to somebody in oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Talking to somebody in a bar, make a good point about the impatience of people, and I know, Angel, I get impatient a lot as well. But we're talking about UFOs and all this, and the person said to me, "I've never seen a UFO. There can't be any. I've never seen one." So I said, "Oh, well, have you ever gone looking for one?" And this is what I tell people: is you ever gone looking for one? Because how do you know it's not there unless you're actually looking? And we tend to lean towards that which we focus our minds on. So if you assume it's not there and you're not looking for it, you're not going to see it. Because consciousness is it's like an aperture, isn't it? Consciousness, and we tune out and we tune in different things. I think we have to, because we've got the whole universe on you. With all the information coming in, you cease to function. But we tend to hear and see what we want to, what we think is there, rather than what's really there. Sometimes, you make an important point earlier about the meditation, people's magnetic field. I think what a magnet is not magnetism is not really that well understood, I don't think, but it's inside a magnet. All the atoms are lined up like little soldiers, like very orderly lined up. But you're creating order in yourself when you meditate. So you're realigning your own atoms, so that energy can flow through you in a more efficient manner.
Yeah.
Whatever that energy might be, creating a magnetic field.
It's
like the feng shui thing as well.
It's very the way the way you describe it is that's very actually accurate. Because usually I think more of like calming like the water. That's the same thing, because that's aligning everything in an orderly fashion, and leave and the thing is, if you leave things alone, we always have this feeling, I have to do something, I have to take action to make things happen. But sometimes if you leave things alone, if you need things to calm down,
things are happening.
Okay, if you have a lake and you throw in and you stand there and you're throwing in rocks, or if you're trying to smooth it, okay, if you're trying to smooth water, that won't work. They will just keep disturbing it. So but if you leave it alone, it will calm itself. And that's a lot of things, I think, in nature and in human, in consciousness, and in the way we behave, is very much because we have to do something. But sometimes the best thing you can do is actually not to do anything. And try not to. And when you but the thing is, when you try to do that, and we start going that way, and think, okay, then you realize how addicted you are to symbolism and all kinds of society, all kinds of things, but also you're addicted to thoughts. Okay, your brain keeps on going. As soon as you start thinking, you can't stop. and the point of the point of the meditation, and I think perhaps a lot of the conscious based contact is not to think but to be. And that's all, that's also like a big dilemma in many ways, because if the contact is based on not being conscious but being there, how do you communicate? How does these things work? And that's why I'm always talking about this is based on the heart chakra, the heart connection, and the feeling, like in a jam, because that's not symbols, that's just something going on. And when you
it's a very important point.
and when you share the experience, that is when you put on symbols and all the stuff, and you have, and then maybe you have an instant connection with other people saying, okay, we share the same kind of experience, but you can't be sure because you have to put on the symbolism. When I'm actually, we had to skip a hangout, and now we just got the internet connection. Otherwise, it would have been on my phone. But one of the things since the last hangout, I love. Hvad siger du? Hvorfor? Okay, det er jo. Sorry, that was my. No, but one of the things we talked about, I kind of lost no, but
lost
the thing, yeah, just a bit, because my wife just came and we're in a completely new place. Everything is empty space, and no, but to get back on track, if you, when you make that connection and then have to share it, it will still be some kind of interpretation of your own experience. And
because it's relative to being colored by your own experience as well.
And when as I said, I talked about the free survey, the experiencer survey. They asked a lot of people with the experiences about all kinds of stuff. There's more than 600 questions, and 2,500 people took part. And one of the things they ask is, do you believe that there has been some kind of healing involved in your contact experience? And a lot of experiences say yes. And I talked with one of the guys behind the survey and other people about this, and I said, that's true.
Right.
And I can understand but the thing is, if you have this, if you don't have the exact answers and you have this kind of experiences, but we also know that other things like baking soda, cannabis, and spontaneous self-healing is not. This is not voodoo or magic. This is a known fact that some people will, and this is not because of mixed up tests or anything, but up to 2% of people at least will heal themselves even though they're terminally ill from cancer, from all kinds of other things. So if you have this kind of experience, if you feel you have some kind of contact experience, and you also experience somebody being sick or yourself being sick and then being being healed, I'm just saying it's not that far-fetched to connect those things and think, I think I was healed by these beings. But in fact, there might just be some environmental factor, like weed, like whatever, baking soda, or
Well, again, meditation. If meditation is creating a better order within itself, like you said, you see the magnetic field of people in meditation growing. If it's actually creating more order, then you're going to heal in a more orderly fashion. So that the meditation can, there's a bit of science there, can be scientifically explained from a science perspective, that's why they heal in a more orderly fashion, in a better fashion, like
Absolutely, and I also, and I also think that what we're saying, you when you connect the thing about the consciousness and it's this whole thing, you kind of makes you scared because at some point you go, am I creating reality? What's going on?
You're
Am I
playing a
just
part in it, I
am
think.
I
More
am I
than-
a puppet or am I actually doing everything
Right.
myself? And Alan Watts is a great philosopher and who lived years and years ago. But as he said, it's like breathing. Is breathing a voluntary or an involuntary action? Okay, so you say I breathe. Okay, that's cool. Try not to.
Yeah.
So at some point it becomes a reflex, and that actually kind of describes the way things come together. It's like breathing.
Yeah.
It's something you can do it yourself. At the same time, it happens to you automatically.
Yeah, I think another way to look at it is, are we creating a reality, like you said, or are we created? Well, it's a feedback loop. That's what consciousness is. It's a feedback loop. We put information out, and it changes aspects of the environment around us. But the physical movement or the giving other people ideas, and it's collaborative. Those people that you've given ideas will react to your ideas. They give you information that changes your inner experience, and it's both. You creator and created, but it's a collaborative consciousness effort. I mean, again, the wonderful guy Nassim Haramein, which I love his work. If you look him up, I think you know a bit about him. He points out, like, if it was just one person, each person was individually conscious and not, it wasn't a collaborative thing, it'd be like, oh, it's too cold, let's turn the heat up, and some poor Eskimo somewhere is, oh, it's too hot, better turn it back down. And just because you think, oh, you want it the heat up, and it happens, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But there's a collaborative effect in reality through our conscious efforts. I think that's a better way to look at it. It's just more like a mixture of things we do, creating a result.
Exactly, just like breathing. It's a voluntary and an involuntary action. So you can't stop creating your reality and in some way. And that's also, if you go into the quantum physics and all of this, that kind of approach, as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and suddenly nothing really kind of exists anymore. Everything takes a conscious act to kind of collapse into reality. So it makes you wonder, what came first, the consciousness or the physics, and I tend to, I'm more into the one consciousness kind of thing. At the basis of everything is this field of consciousness.
Yeah, I can see.
And then but then why are you and why are me? But that's actually the same thing, but we're experiencing this consciousness in a subjective way. Everybody's me, everybody's you. We
It's like
if I say you you're you, but you could say the same thing about me. So we're actually the same, but we are just experiencing this consciousness in a subjective way. And if you're talking about, I'm still an atheist in many aspects, and but dying,
I'm not.
but dying has become some kind of spiritual transformation, if you want, conscious based transformation, it makes no sense to have an experience of nothing, if you know, because that's against
Absolutely, yeah, because it's impossible. It's
you know,
impossible to experience nothing. Yeah.
and even at the primitive kind of physics level we are at, whatever you want. If you talk about the laws of thermodynamics, energy doesn't just go away. It always transforms into something else.
Well,
So we are, and we know that the brain and the energy and what's going on in the microtubulance of your brain, where the conscious arises, is energy. So when
yeah,
that dissipates, it's not gone. It's going somewhere else. So in a sense, it's just and the next experience. Then everybody's
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. Can you remember your last life and all this stuff. And
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
but then again, bring it back. Alan Watts, he says it's arranged that way that you go away, and become someone else altogether, and you forget about the last thing,
yeah,
and that's actually pretty good. I mean, it would be boring to know everything, and that's
yeah. Well,
that's a reason. That's a kind of
it's
reason behind us existing and having the subjective, you know, experience
yeah,
of the consciousness. Because if everybody knew everything, it would make no sense. Somehow.
yeah. Talking about the energy thing as well. It's talking about thermodynamics, and I suspect you're familiar with zero-point energy physics, maybe, or read something about it. And skeptics, as soon as they, well, not skeptics, debunkers really, as soon as they hear the terms zero-point energy, that's it, bang, out the window, you're a nutter. It's the the layman terms, as much as I could layman term it and wrap my own brain around it, was zero-point energy is on my website, and there's an energy field. We were talking about the universe being conscious and all that. And consciousness, probably the universal field, but there's a generated energy field that is also universal because every point in space and time is infinitely connected, which relates to us all being one. But if there's always movement on the quantum scale, it generates a huge amount of energy, but space feels empty because it's all in equilibrium. But we can tap into that energy, and Stanley Mayer tapped into it with his car, that ran on water. Other people, Stanley Mayer, you can read up about him on realityexplorations.net a little bit. I think I got the article out. He was clearly murdered for his invention. The military wanted to take in that technology, but Stanley wanted to give it to the world. Same as Tesla wanted to give the whole world energy as well, free energy.
Well, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, and I think there's plenty of reason to not disregard this, because there's so many.
There's so much science stuff.
You always
Yeah,
hear the term. There's no such thing as a free lunch,
yeah,
and in many ways that's true, and in most physics, there is no free lunch. But on the other hand, we now know we know about the Higgs boson, we know about the Big Bang, we know about gravity waves. We have quantum physics, and we have relativistic physics, Einstein, And all these things suggest that there might be solutions to these kind of problems that arise, and one of those might be,
Yeah.
time travel or whatever. But if you think that it's possible for, we know that at some point, at least that's what our primitive state knows, at some point right after the Big Bang, there was an inflation period where the
I've
universe,
got a lot of
where
problems
the
with the Big
where
Bang
the
theory
no,
myself.
no, but listen to this. But the thing is, no matter if the thing is that people also talk about internal inflation, not just one universe,
Mm.
many universes. So every time you have this energy problem, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Finite.
There is no problem, because if you
Yeah,
want to time travel, whatever you want to do of 0 point energy, you just tap
yeah,
into the infinite energy of this internal inflation in multiverse, whatever, So it can't be disregarded just as nonsense.
yeah.
The way
It's infinite energy, and it's being disregarded. Yeah, and
exactly, and
ignored.
it's not like, so if I use infinite amounts, will the universe implode? No, that's
No,
not
it's infinitely replaced by an infinite speed by the time you've actually used it anyway. Another point is 0 point energy. It's based on frequency and vibration rather than actually using a finite material that we dig out the ground with fossil fuel. That's why and that vibration is there because of the very structure of the universe.
yeah,
It's a
okay.
collaborated effect like that.
Oh, absolutely, and and as a musician,
Yeah,
I kind of dig vibration, so it's a natural thing, and
yeah,
and but also the whole thing of particles being waves and being particles at the same time is
yeah,
you know it does the possibilities are much broader than we think, and 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 even our the our understanding of the universe, because the quantum physics and understanding allows for a universe without Big Bang. And I'm also
yeah.
more
Uh,
I kind into Roger Penrose, those kind of the cyclic thing universe where everything.
like the universe has always been and always is sort of
Yeah, but
thing. I sort of
it has to do kind of
it's,
with the, how should I call, the grand slimification of things. So at some point, in eons and eons of time, black holes, everything will evaporate, and
yeah. See, I never.
if matter itself, is also on a slow kind of
Yeah.
shrinking process, at some point everything will be no
Oh,
ma no
what
ma
back
no
into to a big
no
bang?
no mass and all radiation, and then the circumstances will be back to when the so-called Big Bang started, and everything will start over. So
I think that's happening on the quantum scale anyway, in which tiny particles have a feedback loop between an expansion, which causes that movement is causing vibration.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So rather than imagining the whole universe doing that, every point in space and time is doing that, and it is its own universe in a way. If you think of it in a hologram kind of way, or infinite connected to all things, every point it has all the information for the whole thing, which explains perhaps how psychic experience can work, because you're tapping into a point in space and time that is expressing itself enough related to some information or something, some event
exactly.
that happens in space time.
And this was good. This was kind of hard to understand in the Einstein in the relativistic view of the universe, but you know, as I understand it, where quantum physics becomes greater, you know, you understand what Einstein calls spooky action at a distance. You know, that's actually what you kind of describing, because everything is interconnected in the 3D universe. You know, in the hologram. You know, every part of the hologram is the hologram, and that's
you
how
break
that's.
the hologram. You got a copy.
Mm-hmm.
You got a copy of the whole image, and you break that. It's still an exact copy every time.
Exactly,
All
and
the information.
I think that's very much how the quantum physics works. You know, at these strings, because you know the quantum entanglement is actually describing that very well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're 10 meters or 10 light years away. You know, if you
it's instantaneous.
if you entangle two, you know, subatomic particles, you know, with the spin, you know, quarks with spin left or right, whatever, and if you have one on Earth, you know, and you put it on a spaceship going at light speed, you know, and 10 years later is 10 light years away, you say, I want to phone home. Okay, spin the spin the particle, you know. And use use Morse code, because they're entangled, and they're doing that in a different way, but they're doing it. So there is, and that's also, you know, when we're talking about the faster than speed travel and every, you know, that's cool. But I think in a physical way, you know, the fastest speed in the universe is not the speed of light, but the speed of thought. You know, as fast as you can imagine, you will go. You can go, but that's the limit, you know, for a craft or for your, you know, astral travel, whatever. But the consciousness itself will go beyond that, you know, because of the quantum entanglement, you know. That's instantaneous. So there are limits to how fast things will move. Okay.
Yeah.
James, it's been really nice talking to you. I was gonna do a short meditation. Tonight, so
I'll do a meditation with you. Well,
it's gonna be. I'm gonna talk. But as I said, you know, we talked about the survey, the 3 experiences survey. There's a lot of stuff going on out there. Don't. As we talk about. People always talk about, you know, we need to organize, we need this, we need that. Don't worry about that. Just do this, do the contact, do your own research. Don't how should I say? Don't worry that much about it. Don't all the politics doesn't matter. If we're enough, if we're not enough, whatever. If you keep growing this contact movement, if people keep
it's going to happen anyway.
Take part, at some point it's going to happen on its own, and it will be in a way, you know, as you said, you know, we talked about this many times, you know, we'll keep growing, people will keep doing this, people will keep trying to make contact, people will try to make peaceful and open-minded approach to this, and at some point, you know, you can't keep ridiculing, or you can't and you can't ignore the fact that people are having these experiences, and they should be taken seriously.
It's been wonderful to talk to you. Somebody to listen.
Yes,
I'm sure for
and
yourself as well. Yeah.
that's been really nice talking to you as well, and I hope that everybody out there who's listening has been enjoying this as well. There was a lot of people responding to this. Very nice. We had a small break and a lot of trouble, but now we got an internet connection and we're ready to go. But what I would like to, James, hang on. You know,
Right.
we'll just,
Yeah.
after I'm gonna do this short visualization. Try to explain
Okay.
how we do this, very short, and then we'll have a bit of chat afterwards. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. So I'm just
And,
I'm gonna
take myself off camera while we can.
I'm gonna turn you off.
Fish tank.
Okay. Yes, as talked about before, and this one of the ways to try and make this contact is using meditation and visualization. A very easy, simple way is to try to imagine a daydream traveling in your mind. It's important that you do this when you're at peace and relaxed. This contact, this experience will probably won't have any, or it won't be, could be potentially not that exhilarating if you bring a lot of fear into this, and this is what you do with the meditation. But I'm gonna go through the basic steps of how you can do this. If you're in a group, that's fine. You can do this if you're on your own. If you know of anybody else doing this at this weekend at the moment, especially those who are close to you, you can try to think of them. Maybe you can create images in your mind of where they are. But the important thing is to find a place where you can relax. If you can sit and relax, it's important. When you do this, try not to think about, there's nothing, no special thoughts or nothing you have to do or somewhere you have to be or some way you have to feel. Just be where you are. Now, it doesn't matter if there's noises or somebody coughs or if the television or the cars are going on outside. Those are all just noises. Now, if you close your eyes, and you make a focus a bit on your breathing. Breathing is an important part of the visualization process and the meditation. You breathe. It's connecting the inside world with the outside world. You can breathe in when you want. And you can breathe out when you want. But at the same time, breathing is an automatic bodily reaction. So if you just let your breath fall in and fall out. Fall in, fall out. Now, as you do this, you can try to imagine you breathe in light. And you exhale peace. Breathe in light. Exhale peace. When you exhale and let your breath fall out, it's like a sigh of relief. Let go. Now, as you want to make this contact, make the effort. You can try, if you're alone or if you're in a group, try to imagine a sphere of light in front of you in the center of the group. And you want to send out an open, warm welcome. Try to send out a conscious image of where you are. And if you connect your heart to that sphere of light and then project it out, you say, welcome. You want to connect in peace. Now, one of the things I do for the visualization in person I try to imagine looking at the earth from the outside. But like the heart connection is important, not just the mind connection, but the heart connection is important. Same way, if you want to visualize your position, the earth is just a speck, but the sun is the heart of the solar system. So if you can try to imagine your heart connecting to the sun, and do this by making a circular motion, like in prayer position. And then shine beacon of light. And then go out from the sun. Out, 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 out. Into the galaxy, into the Milky Way, into the arm of Orion, into the where we are, our local neighborhood. Go, I am here, we are here, we are ready to make peaceful contact. Shine a light out there. Project your mind out there. Then go back, 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 back. Send them images of where you are. Tell them you're welcome to visit. We are ready for contact. Namaste. Ja. Sorry. I wish I could get James back. I think I kind of closed for his microphone. Hang on a second. Oh. No, but it was nice to have James there, and I can see he's I can see you there, James. But can you turn on your mic yourself? Oh, yeah, you're there. Okay,
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna say good night and hang on, and we'll chat for 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
But I hope everybody has been enjoying this, and thank you for everybody who's watching the YouTubes and keep encouraging us to do this. I hope you're learning something, and please, just like James and everybody else, please feel free to join the Hangout. We're not biting, we're not dangerous, we're just sharing experiences. So thank you. Thank you very much. Good night, and let's see you next time. Bye bye.